something must exist if things exist. And that's as simply as I can put it. But let me expound. First, if things exist, that's the first premise, then secondly, there must be something that put it there. So all things must have a cause. And what I find most powerful about this line of reasoning is that who denies their own existence? Now, the evolutionist, the naturalist will say that we came to be by random chance. But you see, the biggest problem that I see in the origin of life from a purely naturalistic point of view is that you still need that point of origin, that singular point of origin where everything came out of. And so the evolutionists would say, well, the Big Bang happened. And to look at the world in a godless point of view, to say, boom, it popped into existence. In other words, they would have to take a position that it happened by itself. This is irrational. It's illogical and it's irrational. For atheists to claim rationality and have this as a position of origin, it's amazing to me. It's amazing how silly it really is. So mommy and daddy hydrogen atom came together and they had babies. Well, we still have a problem with where did mommy and daddy hydrogen atom come together? Where did they come from? So you've got to have an initial cause. So the cosmological argument is, in my opinion, the most powerful argument out there, because it claims that the God of the universe, the God that created us, is the cause of all things. He is the uncaused cause. And by definition, this would be the theistic definition of God, that God is just that. He is the uncaused cause. And the weakness of this argument would be when they point their finger at you and say, hey, you believe that God was caused, right? If God's a thing, right, then someone caused him, in infinite regression backwards and backwards and backwards. But you see, like I stated earlier, God has no beginning and he has no end. He was and is and always will be. He is the great I am. And so I am convinced that if there is something, like my iPod, okay, if this exists, something must necessarily exist to put it here. You see? Look at that. Something must necessarily be to put it here. I can't assume that something of intelligence and design happened by itself. And that's irrational. So as a theist, I think the best argument for the existence of God is simply this. If things exist, something must necessarily exist to put it here. And all of life is complex. And a very complex God created all things. I hope that helps. God bless.